If you entered your founder journey because you were at a crossroads with your career that maybe you didn't get to choose, but now you're wondering, what's the next step? Where's my outline? Where's my project plan? Or maybe you've just decided you're starting something new that's based off of a passion and a gap in this world that you know you can fill. I know that you're absolutely going to love this conversation with Kendra. She is a dear friend and client of mine who's really changing the world, not only for startups and their growth marketing, but also for working moms in a safe space for us to be honest about the reality of what's going on in our worlds. This is Overwhelmed and Over It, where success doesn't cost you your sanity. I'm your host, Gabs, and I bring you 10 minutes of real founder stories and their real solutions without any fluff, so that way you can build a business without burning yourself out. Ready? Let's do it. Kendra, I am so excited to introduce you to the community today because you and I have been working together for a while now. I feel like time's just like flying by. But there was one of those things I think on this founder journey where we just found each other, locked arms, and kept it moving and never looked back. I would love for you to tell a little bit about yourself and your founder journey to the community so they can get to meet you and love you as much as I do.
Yes, it is so amazing to be here. And I was just trying to recall, I don't even know how we connected. Was it some weird LinkedIn networking thing? And then I think we just kind of had this feels like a friend that I've been friends with forever and ever. And now I just want to be part of whatever you're doing. So I'm so happy to be here. Hi, everybody. My name is Kendra Pennington. I am the founder of a community for working moms called Beyond the Ninth. It is a free virtual community and it has turned my life upside down in the best possible way. My founder's journey was actually not something that was born out of desire or this strong passion to build something amazing. It was actually born out of asking for a raise at a job that I had been at for 3 years and being told flat out no and thinking, wow, this isn't actually the place for me. What does this mean for me long term? So I kind of started putting the pieces in place to start finding a new job. I was the head of marketing for a company and I tried my hardest to find a job. I mean, the job market these days is insane. And so I was kind of walking down two different paths. I was like, I'm either going to start my own marketing consulting company or I am going to find a job as head of marketing somewhere. I applied to probably 300 jobs and it was the darkest, most miserable time of my life, getting rejection after rejection. At about that time, I was also reaching out to a lot of other past colleagues, past coworkers, and just kind of letting them know that I was open to doing freelancing for growth marketing. And I was able to land an amazing part-time gig with a startup company that started me down this path of becoming a founder of a marketing consulting company. And it's been amazing. I mean, as a mom and as a person who kind of has an entrepreneurial spirit to begin with, it's great to just kind of call your own shots as it pertains to hours, who you want to work with, how you want to come dressed to work, how you want to show up for yourself in both the clothes that you wear to work and also just kind of like the things that you're doing day to day. And then what changed my journey was that I had a conversation with a mom about 5 months ago. I was, doing marketing consulting, had been doing that for the past few years, and had this kind of pivotal conversation with a fellow working mother. It changed my whole reality because I suddenly had this light bulb moment in my head that working mothers need a place of love and support, unwavering love and support, where they can go on their worst days and have a army of other mothers who identify with exactly what they're going through. And that is how Beyond the Ninth was started. And so now I call myself a founder of that community as well. And, they're obviously very different companies, but that is the journey that I am now on.
I love it because I think most founders I talk to, we're all multi-passionate, right? We have all these different things that we love and we enjoy, things that we're curious about. And I think you have been a very beautiful example of being able to do multiple things at once. Not always easy. And I think that might lead us into our next question of kind of what has been your biggest founder lesson or light bulb moment so far. because you're doing a lot, but for good reason, because they're both things that you really care about and that have changed your life and your family life, which is why many of us decide to take this very scary leap into foundership.
I think the biggest lesson is that there is no list, there is no path, there is no planning. The founder life, especially for solopreneurs, is really living day to day, moment to moment, figuring things out. And so you might have the best laid plans of like, this is where I'm going to be in 6 months, and this is what I'm going to do in the next year, and here's all the pieces that I'm going to put into place. But your business and your customers, and also the way that you feel about how things are developing, is really going to be changing moment to moment. And it's going to change that plan, and it's going to change your to do list, and it's going to change your priorities. You are going to be pivoting so many times. And I think that what I've learned is like, don't beat yourself up for not knowing what it is supposed to be. And instead, just being comfortable with being super uncomfortable, and learning that some days you're working in the business, some days you're working on the business, some days you're laying on the couch watching Real Housewives because you just can't even do it that day. And that is all part of the journey. And there is no path. You're the founder. You get to create it, and you get to pivot based on what feels right to you. And that's beautiful. And it's also terrifying at the same time.
Oh my gosh, I resonate so much. I look back and I'm like, man, I've made so many pivots, whether it's flat out like company and what I'm working on, or who my target customer is, or what my services are, or even like you were saying, down to your branding, like how you show up in this world. And I just had this discussion with someone the other day who's getting ready to start her personal branding journey. And I said to her, I said, this is actually looking back at it now, I realize the personal brand journey is the funnest part of it all, because there is no right or wrong way to do it. Literally, every time you hit post, it's an experiment to see what you're going to change and what you're going to pivot the next time. And so I used to beat myself up of like, no one's going to take me serious because I pivoted, because I changed, because I'm talking
Mhm.
about something different. But now I look at it in a different light. I'm like, if I'm not talking about different things, if I'm not trying different stuff, then I'm going to be stuck in status quo, like corporate, and the reason I hated it and the reason I left. And so now it's like, it's a fun part of the journey. But in the beginning, I'm with you that it definitely felt stressful, not feeling like, okay, I made it, and now I can just kind of ride it out. It's always changing.
Yeah, and I think the personal brand is angle is very, very interesting as a founder, because as somebody who works for another company, which there's nothing wrong with that. I did that for decades, but you kind of are beholden to how they want you to represent yourself to the world based on what their like kind of company standards and policies are, which is totally okay. But I think for some of us who feel like we have a little bit of a different viewpoint on certain things, or something that might not be completely accepted in like the like kind of the corporate like structure, it can be very freeing to know that you can hit post on one of those, one of those posts that you do, and that you don't have to worry whether your job is going to be in jeopardy, or what is my manager going to think about this, because you're the boss, you're the founder. And if that's the story that you want to tell and the position that you want to take, you are totally allowed to do that and not be afraid of it.
Oh, so good. We're learning constantly, we're changing constantly. And that also means there's always something that's keeping us up at night, because it's either something we're not used to or something that's new. So what would that be for you right now as a founder, the thing that's keeping you up at night?
The thing that keeps me up at night is, how do I get my community in front of more mamas? The community is free. The community is full of beautiful, supportive, loving women. But it's still small, and I still feel like there's such an impact to be had when you have a community of women that is rallying with you when you're in your darkest days. And so what keeps me up at night is, how do I get this in front of more women? How do I keep showing up and having my community kind of like, it's kind of this feedback loop. Women go there, they are vulnerable. They say, I need help with this certain thing. And they've got an army of women that are there helping them to answer these questions, or at least just saying, we see you, we've gone through similar things. So what keeps me up at night is, how do I make this bigger? How do I impact more women in a positive way? How do I, bring more people into this beautiful ecosphere that is being created?
Oh, I love it. And only because I'm in there and I can resonate 1000%. When I got a call from my daughter's principal around her academics and how scared they were about where she was ranking, it's like my first thought is like, go talk to the mamas and be on the ninth, right? Like, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have that community physically where I live just because we're fairly new here. And so there is really something special around having that virtual community that I can trust. When I go there, not only am I not speaking into the void, because these mamas, when we talk about support, like are jumping in and supporting you, but
Yep.
also that I'm not being judged for speaking out into the real world of like what my feelings really are in the moment. And so I personally am so grateful for you creating this community and sharing it with all of us.
I'm so glad to hear that feedback. And I do think that there's beauty and power in that anonymity that comes with the community. There's women from all over the world, but they're not your next door neighbors. They're not going to judge you when they see you, which is something that I'm always fearful of. If I go and tell my neighbor my deepest, darkest secrets about how I'm crying in the closet because my 3-year-old yelled at me, then that's a person that I have to face every day. Where this community of women who have made the decision to come to a support community, that those are the kind of women that are going to support you because they're showing up for that sole purpose. And so there really is, I think there's beauty and power in being able to say, I don't know anybody, but I am not speaking into the void. I am speaking into a group of people who identifies with everything that I'm going through day to day.
Oh, I love it so much. All right, Kendra, we're going to wrap up here. And I like to always leave with the question, which I think plays so well into what you're already building in the community, is what support do you need right now in your founder journey?
I think it's just support from other founders that are saying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to communicate with other founders who are going through this too. And I think that there is so much that comes from camaraderie and people that are kind of walking down that same path of the unknown. So I think the support really comes in community and networking with like-minded women.
Well, I will drop all of the information to connect with Kendra in the show notes. And if you are on the LinkedIn world, and especially as a working mom, she is one you want at the top of your feed. So make sure you connect with Kendra. That's all for this week's episode of Overwhelmed and Over It. I know being a founder can feel lonely, but you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. If you're craving real talk with other entrepreneurs who get exactly what you're going through, join us in the Brave Starts monthly Q&A circle. It's our judgment-free zone where no question is too basic, too messy, because trust me, we've all been there. You can grab your free spot at thebravestart.com. And please make sure we're connected on LinkedIn. I share daily reminders that the entrepreneurship roller coaster is totally normal. You're not the only one feeling overwhelmed. I'm your host, Gabs, and until next week, remember, building a business is hard enough. Let's not make it harder by doing it alone. I'll catch you in the next episode.